Hey guys, welcome to Your Honor Seriously, where legal jargon meets shy time conversations or matcha if that's what you're into. Here we yap a lot, mostly about the law, and we often find ourselves thinking, Your Honor, seriously? I'm your host Anisha.
And I'm your host Durga, bringing courtroom drama straight from the courtroom to your playlist. Now let's dive into today's exciting chat.
But first, let's kick things off with today's iconic case Mattel versus Aqua. Yes, the same Mattel behind the Barbie dolls we all love. And recently, the massive blockbuster Barbie starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. We're talking about the toy giant taking on Aqua, the band behind the super catchy track Barbie Girl, which included the lyrics Barbie being plastic and fantastic.
Now, Mattel thought that these lyrics were tainting the image that they had carefully curated for Barbie. But guess what? The courts totally sided with Aqua, declaring the song to be a clear case of parody. Much like how Greta Gerwig's movie cleverly pokes fun at Barbie's image and stereotypes. Now, ultimately, the song became an anthem for free speech and, most importantly, our childhood. Pretty much setting the stage for the playful self awareness we see in the movie itself.
Today we have a very special guest with us, a true powerhouse in the legal Indian scene, Advocate Subhash Bhutoria, aka SB. SB is a seasoned lawyer known for his deep expertise in intellectual property and art laws. And before starting his own firm, Law SB was leading the IP practice at a renowned firm called DSK Legal. Absolutely. And that's not all. His journey also includes positions at top tier law firms like Luthra Luthra and LKS. So, hello, sir. How are you?
All well, and thank you so much for coming all the way to Law SB. And it's a pleasure to interact not just with you two, but as well as with the other audience. And I hope this podcast, it will, if not anything, motivate students and listeners. Looking forward to some great discussion and, of course, your honors seriously.
Exactly. Yes, sir. So let's start with our first segment then, shall we? So we would love to ask you, how has your journey been from law school to the firm, and what pushed you towards IPR?
So it's a very interesting, shift from what I was supposed to do. I was preparing for medicals and couldn't get through. Attempted twice. Fortunately, I became a lawyer. God save the patients. And so when I entered law school, first generation lawyer, I had no clue whatsoever about law, legal practice, how you read law, how do you, understand the nitty-gritties of things. And in these 5 years, from coming from a very small township where even English medium was taught in Hindi, there were a lot of hurdles on the way, from language to, completely new gentry, understanding law school ecosystem. But I've been grateful to my seniors, to my batchmates, to my juniors, whom I got in touch with during law school. And from there, after 5 years, again, it was 2009 when I entered the practice. It was a recession time, and we did not have a job in hand. So I was doing an internship with Lall Sethi, and I was working more like a investigation in charge. It's a very sort of thing. And I was working primarily on Cadbury portfolio.
Okay.
And it so happened that the work was recommenced, and I was offered a job because Cadbury was happy. So, kuch meetha ho jaye. Yeah. And so I got my first job at Lall Sethi. One thing I remember that, throughout all this time, I remained sincere to the profession. I learned integrity. I learned how to be a better lawyer each day. And I chose IP because of my, of course, the technical science background. Always a science student. So I prefer stay in the practice which is more closely associated with sciences and creativity. That's why I chose IP. IP was my honors as well in law school. And since 2009, 16 years that I've been practicing IP through and throughout, and practices which are associated or allied with IP.
But that's great. So I think your journey is an inspirational journey for every first generation lawyer we have, because there's the saying all around, a first generation lawyer here. There's this dir in everybody's mind, ki, how will we get a job? And especially the recession is still there, abhi, right now. So everybody is just scared. I think our generation is the most scared one.
Exactly, because we're going to graduate and still a recession. So yeah. So speaking of your career as a lawyer, could you describe your typical day as an IPR lawyer and what do you do?
See, there are no 9 to 5 jobs. Being a lawyer means you are always available to serve or to facilitate justice system, right? So one thing, of course, initially it may feel like a burden, but then it becomes part of your DNA. And when you don't have work, then you feel little bored and idle. So for me, my day never ends. If I have to start in a more biological way to start my day at morning, I start with my laptop. So I keep my laptop and phone right next to my bed. So when I wake up, I start my laptop, I switch it on, and I see what has come through over the night, because we work in different time zones. We have more clients as well. So whatever has come, I try to finish that communication. So first thing is I start my day with seeing all the emails. I maintain my dockets. We organize our office in a way that everything is known before you start the day, or you plan your day ahead. It is already docketed in certain manner. We are a paperless office, so everything is available. You don't have to be in office or throughout the day to finish your work. That is where I start. Then I reach office, subject to if I have a court, I would rather directly go to court. I'll come back. During the day, my team has already worked on certain aspects. So my job is to review the work, to ensure that they are learning. That's very important, because they all are juniors or people who are freshers for me. Right? So for me, it is very important that they have learned the right way, because next time they would go a step ahead. So we don't stick to the same, sort of SOP every time. So I take care of that. Then I have calls. So the day I've become a call center. Big process. And then by night, I get my time where I just have my dinner, have some family time, about half an hour, and then I'm back at work, because night is when I do my travelings. Because that is the time when nobody disturbs to. So I simply feel about 1:32 in the night, working, then I leave. So that's we have created our office in certain manner that you don't want people to come here with a burdened mindset. You want people to enjoy working. In fact, God is very kind that we could create a system where people don't want to stick to their homes. They want to come here, even if it's a holiday. They would want to come here and say, "As we want to be at office. We just want to chill." So that is what we have created. I'm happy that my team is all aligned with this kind of mindset. So that's important.
Definitely. So that is a very refreshing take, honestly, in this era, especially. So, being in this profession and this career, you must have come across some situations that have annoyed you. For example, an annoying client or something they do. So, what is one legal pet peeve you have that you would like to share with us?
I've been annoyed when I was an associate, or I was a senior associate rather. Most times when I was asked to do certain things without knowing why I'm doing it. So this is something that I learned, and I didn't want to imbibe in my sort of setup. So from day one, anyone and whoever joins us, they are dealing with clients from day one. They are aware of the matters, they are aware of the clients, they are aware of what has gone behind. They are better prepared as well. So if something annoys me or something which I have probably missed out in my professional career in firm is this bit, where I was not made a thorough lawyer. I was just being an associate or a senior associate, right? The designation, now it does not matter. So we are a very democratic structure. We do not have designations. want everyone to be a lawyer. That's saying it.
That's an amazing take, sir. So, what's the weirdest IP infringement case you've ever heard? Like, obviously, you're maintaining the attorney-client privilege in this
It's
case.
very interesting. So there has been several of them, and especially when you're going for raids. We were conducting a raid for a software giant in Bangalore, and when you have to go for anti-piracy raids, there are times when largely what we do is we go to High Court, Delhi High Court, and get a local commissioner from there, and the local commissioner, executes the raid, and we have to take the local police force along with us so that there is no public order issue. So we were conducting this raid, and before going and entering the premises, we do a recce to understand how many people are there, what is required, whether we craft him some. We did our recce. We went there. We just asked him, and when we went to police to ask him for help, and there was a gap of about half an hour or so. We had seen that there were about 50, 60 odd computers in that lab, and in half an hour, police, I don't know for what reason, they asked us to wait, and they were like, mulling over the fact that there is an order and they have to execute this order. They were confused. When we went back, there were no PCs. There were only monitors kept. So we could not actually had a successful execution of the raid because they had already moved out the PC in that half an hour.
Oh,
And these are the moments when you really don't know what to do because clients invest time, you invest your effort, right? And there is no fault of yours. There is no fault of anything. You got an order from High Court, but it could not be executed because due to the local authorities were anjars or whatever it could be. The time when we were almost hitting kills in raids, there are news about people getting up. There are several funny moments and interesting moments. I won't say funny. Very few. When I was investigation in charge, and I was very much involved in the investigations. There were times when we used to get a lot of counterfeits, and those counterfeits were also very nice. So we could eat up the confectionaries or things like that. So you do get a lot of interesting aspects. This is something very specific to IP. So generally in a real estate dispute, you would probably never get a passport or something. Yeah.
Right. So that is very interesting. And it sounds like something straight out of a movie. So,
Yeah, we can make a Bollywood out.
yeah, very interesting lives IPR lawyers have. So, now moving on to the second segment called IPR 101. Let's get into what IPR actually is and let's speed run a little bit about the basics of the field so that the viewers are a little aware. So, could you explain what IPR is to us like we're 5-year-olds?
Right. So you're drinking Coke,
Yes.
right? And you see a lot of brands around, and there's a can, and can be a generic can, but there you do see a lot of brands. Right? You see at least Coke, outs, stylized. See, IP is all about whatever you have created intangible, whatever is you wish to protect it as your property. You claim some right, some property right. Ye mera hai, right? That is intellectual property. Now, intellectual property is a broader term. If I again have to categorize it, there are two kinds of properties, intangible properties. One is intellectual property and there is industrial property. So the trademark, the design, this whatever, the clip, everything are IPs. These are industrial properties because it has industrial utility. Like, copyright is a pure intellectual property. It is, a brainchild. So for anyone to understand, if you cannot own a land or a flat or any tangible property, you can still own intangible property. What you guys are creating is all intangible property. Right? So that is intellectual property. Now, when you have your personality, when you have your social accounts, when you have your domain names, these are also intellectual property. So for anyone who is saying that I do not own anything, of course you do. Everyone owns intellectual property. You do create something or other. So that is how, as a layman, everyone can own and owns intellectual property.
so that you mentioned domain, I can own like any name, any thing that I've created on a platform like YouTube. For example, we have a channel on YouTube and its name is Your Honor Seriously. So we own all the rights, or YouTube, the app, has certain restrictions for us.
Right. So you need to understand the ecosystem. See, everything is part of a structure, right? Oh, Dark Knight movie देखी.
Yes, a long time ago.
So Dark Knight में Joker says, we just need to give a little push. Because everything is under structure. Right? To create that disharmony, you need to give that a push. So when you say structure, YouTube is part of Google, the bigger structure, a bigger umbrella. YouTube has given you a platform. On that platform, you put your intellectual property, publish it, right? Now, YouTube's terms and conditions would say that X things belongs to you, but you are giving me permission to use your X properties. But Y things belong to me, and I am allowing you a limited permission to use it. So when you are putting your account name, Your Honor Seriously on YouTube, that is your trademark. See, you're putting your original content, that is your copyrights. YouTube has permission to publish it in any manner whatsoever. YouTube says you're using my platform, the object for source code XYZ thing belongs to me. I am giving you limited permission to use YouTube in certain manner. You cannot run like a 5-minute clip into a half an hour clip just to make that, just to monetize it, right? That would be like cracking or something. So that is what each ecosystem allows you to do. Now when you create something, you can share it with people. Like how the Coke company is sharing its brand with you. You are able to bring Coke because they have shared that brand with you. If it was just a can without a label, probably you would not drink. Why? Because Coke has created a goodwill which is associated with this brand. Right? So that is how you create and you inflate the value of your item by adding goodwill to it, by adding exclusivity to it. Now, a Coke will always be a Coke. Another cola cannot use Coke. Right? That is how you create science.
So I think our generation should be more aware when it comes to reading terms and conditions.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And especially when you're using social media platforms like Instagram, Meta platforms, where a lot of people, especially the artists community, everyone's enthusiastic, right? If I've created something, I would want to share it. It's like you have Snapchat or something, right? Liking these different things. So when you upload anything, when you publish anything through these platforms take away a lot of permissions as their right. So if you read these terms and conditions, you would be able to fairly judge what should be uploaded, what should not. So when an artist who has created something interesting and uploads it and finds that that work is available with someone else, because they have also got it through Instagram, that person may not be able to enforce its rights properly because Insta might have given it on certain permissions or limitations. Today, maybe Insta has not monetized that bit, but in future it can. Like how Pinterest or whatever, the Shutterstock platforms do. You upload your images, even if you buy, that purchase is only for non-commercial purposes. A lot of time people, and especially these digital marketing agencies who are creative, agencies, they have this misconception that if I have purchased an image, I can use it anywhere, even for commercial purposes. But then you have different licenses. You cannot use the license of $7 for something which is for commercial purpose. It will cost you $20 or something, right? So these are very important aspects of IP.
Right. So everything is like a symbiotic relationship, but the scales usually tip towards the big corporations, right? So consumer beware, basically.
Yeah. See, IP is a practice which is related to everything, to anti-competition, anti-competitive thing, or consumer issues, corporate issues, in fact, family issues. So we do a lot of family settlements where IP is the crux of the problem, the issue, where family brands, like, house brands. There is a conflict between brothers, and then who owns that brand, who can use it, how they can use it. So all these are largely IP issues, but they are all in family law as well, succession planning, right? When you read family law, you read about sapindas. Now, if just to give an example, a hypothetical example, if Haldiram was a guy and Haldiram had sons and grandsons, and Haldiram died intestate, how Haldiram brand will go to all these people? See, IP becomes part of your succession planning.
So then the case between Daryaganj and Moti Mahal about who invented, I think, dal makhni or butter chicken. Yes, so that is also that.
That's a very funny thing. He gave quotes on media as well. It's very interesting. Something was made overnight at a Pakistani dhaba. Now, interestingly, if you read, assuming it's a copyright law says that if you are an employee working for an employer, whatever you create belongs to employer, and the Pakistani dhaba is the employer.
Yes.
You both cannot claim it
It's out of question. Yes.
because nobody questions all these things.
Yeah.
How do you protect the dal makhni and butter chicken? Just relish it, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so now that we have covered IPR in general, let's jump into what AI is. In a similar manner, could you just explain to us what AI is in very basic terms?
Yeah, so any intelligence which is, this is my understanding of it, because there are no clear definitions of AI. Anything which is intelligent but is not human. You minus the human intervention and is intelligent because it is giving a response to your prompts. That is AI. We use phones which has Siri or whatever. Alexa. These are all AI because you're giving some prompts and they are understanding your prompt in a more human language to give you a response. That's an AI, right? Now, the problem here is that intelligence and instinct, or it is AI, right? Like, as humans, we acquire knowledge, right? But we also have conscience, we also have wisdom. Some things are instinctive, some we call intuitions. We start manifesting things, right?
Yeah.
Kal kuch ho jayega, right? Because we as humans, we can do these things. An AI engine cannot do these things. They can foresee basis what was there in the past. Who has created the past? Who has given that understanding to AI is the large language model, the LLMs. These are the very basic understanding of things. Of course, these are hyper technical. These probably as a lawyer I cannot explain. But when I see that the past is created, it is dumped, it is stopped, it is stored in LLM format, and the LLM format is being churned and churned and churned for giving out that response. If that LLM is based on proprietary material, is based on copyrighted material, something which is not in public domain, something which belongs to you, right? Then that churning or that stocking or that storing of material to create LLM, that can be an IP issue. We have an engine which is AI. There's a kid who's born, right? There's a newborn kid. That newborn kid needs to be trained. For that training, you need material. That material can be public domain material or it can be proprietary. Something like news. A lot of news is there. News is something which cannot be treated as copyrighted work. But news, when it is curated in certain manner, editorials, articles written in newspaper, they are copyrighted work. So when you read about these cases in the US or now in India, ANIs and of the world, they have sued, different AI engines. They are largely claiming that you cannot dump or store our articles to train your AIs. Because what you're trying to do is, you're basically creating transformative work, you're creating derivatives based on our work. The right to adaptation, the right to translation, the right to issue copies, the right to reproduce number of times, all these are exclusive rights of the copyright owner. Very fundamental, right? When you type something on ChatGPT, And ChatGPT, you ask ChatGPT, please make a brief synopsis of Keshananda Bharti. Now, assuming Keshananda Bharti is a copyrighted work, I'm just giving a sort of a layman example. When ChatGPT reads a prompt, it says, "Okay, I have gone through the work, and I have found these very interesting observation. Why? Because these are not the observation I have read, but then whenever I see there are lakhs and lakhs of scholarly articles, time and again they are citing this paragraph. So for Chat GPT, that becomes the most prominent of the paragraphs. So when it's creating this synopsis, Chat GPT is giving you that paragraph as is and multiple of those paragraphs, because it sees that different scholars have different articles on Keshananda. They have done critiques, because copyright law allows fair deal, fair use where it is for criticism purposes, where it is for personal use, where it is for, say, educational use in a manner. But ChatGPT, if you have taken a premium account, because only with the premium account you can get a better synopsis. So it is monetizing on somebody's work. This is the argument on people who are claiming to be owners. Now the problem is, how do you differentiate? If I am doing a copyright infringement matter, I have an original work, I have to compare it with the infringing work. Here we are talking about original work which is running into millions and billions of pages. How do you compare with what is the prompt on ChatGPT? Where the minimum, the de minimis principle apply? Whether there is a principle of modicum of creativity would come in and say, there is a creativity involved, right? Then, if at all you have to sue, whom will you sue? Can you sue the AI engine or the person who has created the engine, or who is using this? Because it is in law, the locus or the law says that use is not restricted only to the use by the primary user. It can be anyone. If I am sitting here, probably tomorrow I get a summon. Is that possible? That is why it is very important that we see AI as a completely different ecosystem. It is, when the laws are made, copyright law was made in 1957. The initial trademark law was 1958. We are reading Evidence Act, Contract Act, 1800s. These are not laws which are made for AI engines. How do you identify, or are you doing an injustice by trying to use the existing law for something which is in AI ecosystem? You need new legal system.
Definitely, sir.
And more harmonized system.
Yes. I think it is the high time for the lawmakers to define AI and make laws that will protect the actual use of it, so that we can...
Yeah, and which is the case, because now if you see BIPO, the World IP Organization, they are holding these discussions on regular basis on frontier technologies, emerging technologies, because they have to lead. Somebody has to lead. Somebody has to create these guidelines. We got the trademark law because of certain convention. We got the patent law because of certain convention. We got Berne Convention for copyright. So the lawmakers are waiting for someone to make guidelines. Once these guidelines are set in stone, then they will start implementing in their own manner.
But globally, they are existing, right? Like the European Union.
They all have come out with certain directives. Directives are directives.
It's not binding.
It is not law per se. And what will happen if something is happening in India, or something is happening in Kenya, something happening in Bangladesh? Can you stop them? Is a bad, and the hospital will be a big.
So that brings us to our next segment, which is Boom or Doom, where we discuss the pros and cons of AI in IPR. So starting with the pros, what do you think is the good side of AI's involvement in the field of IPR or in general?
See, AI is a brilliant tool. It's a human born thing. We needed it. Right. That's why we created it. Right. It is not that it was lying somewhere in a mine, and someday, just like the bears found diamonds, he found AI. No, right? Uh, he created it with a purpose. The purpose was to make uh, innovation efficient or quicker. There was an industrial revolution where a lot of innovations are happening, a lot of patents were filed. There is a stagnancy now in how we are innovating, right? Probably I find it as a layman, as just overseeing all these things. I see that AI has helped us take a jump start from where she stopped. Now, because we have a compilation or a pile of existing things and voluminous thing, we even if we make a whole organization sit and start reading, humans will never be able to do it. AI is efficient in that. AI is giving you that information at a click. Problem here is on because of course everything karma, what goes around comes around.
Right.
The cons also are from here because AI is being fed with subjective books.
Right.
If I create an engine or I create an LLM which is subjective, which is not fair, which is not, it's not transparent, then the AI's outcome will also not be transparent, will not be fair. And it will give you results which are prejudicial, which are biased. And that is where the problem is. How do we ensure that the engines give you a fair answer? Now, if you go to courts and you use AI engine for doing your research, if it is not aware of judgments from one high court, but is only aware of judgments from the other high court, it will never be able to appreciate the exact law, right? So that is a problem, and if that can be solved, I think AI is a big boon for human civilization. There are issues of environments and XYZ, but that is something which can be rubbished by the fact that we are born with conscience and wisdom.
Yes. And there's always pros and cons of one thing. So we can just embrace the pros and do things. So what do you think is the one big prediction about AI in the next 5 years in the IP area specifically?
IP or maybe law generally, I think AIs will replace a lot of these administrative things.
Right.
That is very important also because how we keep talking about, you tell anyone, yeah, lawyer ho, you are a lawyer. अरे कोर्ट में तो सिर्फ dates पे dates लगती हैं, तारीख पे तारीख.
Right.
AI can improve this thing substantially because there is no administrative, factor, and AI is something nobody can meddle with. You can come to me and say, yeah, मेरा कर दे पहले.
Right.
You cannot go to AI and say, कि मेरा कर देगा, right?
Right.
So, with AI and especially not just 5 years is too long. I'm saying in our next 2 years, we already are in an era where most of these high courts are e-courts.
Yeah.
We have the e-court system where just after your hearing, you get the orders, written on your app. We already are in an era where information, we have realized the work of information. We have started valuing information.
Right.
AI is the most effective tool to have this information in place rightly. Right? So if I see AI's main function, it is to provide you the right information or to ensure that the administrative structure works without any hindrances, without any interventions.
But sir, how AI is creating everything right now, the art, the music, do you think an AI bot would be coming to you in next 5 years and would be saying, trademark this thing for me, please?
Oh, that will be interesting. I don't know to build. But see, everything has the other side as well. While AI is an information-based system, its information, it can be utilized mischievously as well. And we see that AI has been used to imitate singers, create works which are based on existing works. there are mischief. And again, going back to where we started, where we're saying that, we have to have syngender legal system to curb these mischief, right? Because AI can impersonate you. Can criminal law execute or make AI an accused? Impossible.
Yes.
So we have to have system which stops the fraud, the forgeries, the impersonations, the cheatings, the misrepresentations, all these mischief, which are also fundamentally offenses, but done by AIs. We need to have a law that somebody should be made responsible, or what should be the treatment of this, right? So yeah, I think. But otherwise, I'll be happy if AI comes and ask me to fight for some trademarks or copyright. That would be interesting. Folks coming to my office instead of YouTube.
So, sir, what is one thing you would advise to artists and maybe musicians nowadays against what is happening with AI intervention in general?
See, originality is always rewarding, right? Uh, Even if AI is impersonating you or is irritating you, that is not a substantial use. You should not be bothered about it, right? You have precedents now, at least from Delhi High Court, where personality right has been recognized as a beautiful IP. Although it's a very good confluence of human rights and intellectual property, uh, you can extend it to the ecosystem of AI, and you can always, and you should probably, there should be an actionable claim when somebody has uh, AI has created something, some imitation, but that imitation was used by someone. So that person who actually used it should be considered as a primary accused and or a primary infringer. So as a musician, as an artist, as a vocalist, as a singer, I should only be focusing on my original thing. Try to protect it from becoming part of the LMs, and that can be done by ensuring that there is timely enforcement. You keep sending them some sort of caution notice, right? A lot of people don't are not even aware of caution notices. You can keep sending to all these AI engines I'm cautioning you, this is my sound, this is my part of personality attribute. If something, I find imitating my personality, I will sue you. So that becomes sort of a precedence that you're creating, or some sort of a actionable claim that you're creating, that I have been telling you and you're not doing something,
Right.
right? Yeah.
So the crux is to basically be aware of your rights.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you so much, sir. I think it has been a very interesting session. And now all the viewers are aware about what intellectual property rights are, how AI is helping all the creators, but within a limit that the creators need to be in mind, and always read terms and conditions, guys. That is very important.
If you need a lawyer, law is.
Yes.
Definitely. Thank you so much, sir, for tuning in and for taking out time from your precious schedule. Obviously, considering your schedule, it was a difficult thing to do.
Yes.
But thank you so much. We appreciate it a lot, and so will our viewers.
Yes.
Thank you so much and congratulations. Very certain that you guys will do very well.